All right, so um basically want to do a follow up on the video that I did with this talking about this girl who got a restraining order on her baby's dad, and I posted that comment. It was a single mom admits to her mistakes. Now, I talked to this girl a little more. And it's funny how women do mental gymnastics. So a lot of these women, particularly under age 25, even after that, they go from one stage or one level or one version of bad to another version of bad. Rarely, if ever, have I ever seen a woman who's a dumb young little selfish thought turn into a intellectual, thoughtful, caring, moral woman in 5 years. It just doesn't happen. They just go from one level of bad to a different kind of bad. That's all. They go from one level of selfish to being another level of selfish. And they might go through some bumps in the roads along the way, and those bumps and roads might change them. It might veer their course somewhat, but it doesn't actually, like I said, it just changes their version of bad. It changes their version of toxic femininity or toxic woman, etc. Right? So I've seen women go from being a total sluts to, total vapid sluts, total young dumb thoughts, to just being selfish women who are in relationships and being mean and cold and nasty. So that's what you have to remember is, like, even though I read that out and I thought it was an impressive comment, I talked to her a little bit more, and it's just not what you think. They're always going to be vapid. They're always going to be selfish because they cannot see themselves outside of themselves. They cannot put themselves in a man's shoes. They don't know what it is to be a man. They'll never know because they live in a gynocentric society that props them up and tells them they're princesses despite their bad behavior. They don't live in a world that has checks and balances. Now, to some extent, what that girl was saying was like kind of impressive, at least insofar as she realized there was consequences for her behavior. She looked at her current situation as a consequence, as opposed to, oh, this is just another chapter of my princess story, which is a lot of what these girls over here in Western Washington do, is they look at their, baby not as a mistake, but as, oh, there's no mistakes, there's just happy surprises or some bullshit like that. No, that kid's a mistake. He's an unwanted baby. You don't want the father around. He's going to grow up in a split parenthood scenario, which is bad for his development, is going to be bad for his future. You're already, putting that kid down. He's already going to have a negative life because of your choices, because of your whoring ways, and that's just a fact. And this is what these feminists and these liberals don't want to talk about. They don't want to talk about the fact that kids growing up in divorced scenarios or two-parent households do not have better lives. They have worse lives statistically. That's a statistical fact. They don't want to talk about that. The feminists don't want to talk about that. The liberal sluts don't want to talk about that. They just want to talk about how cool it is for them to be single, and how cool it is for them to be self-partnered, and how cool it is for them to be single moms, and I can do everything a man could do. No, you can't. You're exhausted, you're tired, and now you got to go look for a cleanup man. Now you got to go look for a man who's going to raise your mistake, which means the quality of the man is going to be lowered. He's most likely going to be a beta provider, because any man who's an alpha, any man who is a real man, is not going to want to raise any other man's mistakes. And this is why you see all these memes out there. A real man doesn't care if the woman has a kid. A real man doesn't care about her past. Woo, woo, woo. Bullshit. That is feminist propaganda. If you are a real man, you are going to have standards, and part of your standards is you should not be dating single moms. Why? Because it means they have a shitty, slutty past. And believe me, they are not changed, and they have not been rehabilitated just because a little bastard popped out. All right? That's just a fact. And it is a bastard. It is what it is. That's the definition of a bastard. It's a kid who doesn't have a father. He does have a father, but the father's not around. And chances are the woman chased the father off, because I've seen it happen again and again and again. These women are in their little cock carousel phase. They get pregnant, and they don't want to be with the guy they got pregnant with, because they didn't plan on being with him, because he doesn't have money, or he's not cool enough, or he's not this, that, and the third. Because believe me, hypergamy still exists even after they have a baby. All right? It does not go away after a woman has a baby. Hypergamy is etched in their female nature. They're still trying to find a man as a provider, and 9 times out of 10, when these girls are getting knocked up, the guys are getting knocked up with are not providers, because they don't chase women or men for sex who are providers initially. They chase the alpha guys who probably don't have great jobs or great careers, and who have more time to be out philandering and be out carousing with women and being a playboy. They have more time dedicated to that than to their careers. Okay, and you can't win for losing if you're a guy, because they don't want, they'll sleep with you, but they don't want you for long term. And then if you do, spend all your time on your career, they'll cheat on you and say you work too much, or they'll just use you as the cleanup guy when she's done riding the cock carousel and her lay count is in the hundreds and she's got 2 kids from 2 different dads. And then they want you to be the cleanup guy to clean up her baggage. And a lot of times these guys are so cucked, these guys are so bereft of any real manhood, that they'll settle for a piece of crap whore who's been around the block and has a bunch of kids, and they'll raise the kids like they're their own. And that's just the epitome of cuckery. And oftentimes they'll let the woman cheat. It's just so fucked up, this world as it is now. So anyway, I talked to this woman a little bit, and she was trying to say that just because somebody protects you does not mean that they're stronger than you. And I said, no, the fuck it doesn't. Yes, or yes, the fuck it does. If somebody's protecting you, and she was using it in the context of a man protecting a woman, and she was trying to say she's still equal to a man if she's being protected, and I'm like, that's just the most fucked up logic ever. And it's like, okay, so I get it. So she had a repentant moment because her dad or her parents raised her right, so she at least realizes and recognizes that she fucked up in life. But the same shit that caused her to fuck up in the first place is continuing on because of gynocentrism, because nobody's saying, hey, don't be an idiot. You're a female and you're not equal to a man. You have a different role. There's different shit going on. Play your part. Play your role. Don't be a little slut. Be accountable for your actions. Nobody's saying that. Even her dad, who she claims she was so hard on her. Why is she such an idiot then? If he was such a good dad, why are you still such an idiot? I don't know. Is it your female nature? I really don't know. Okay, but if somebody's protecting you in a protectorship role, it does not mean you're equal with that person. It means that person is stronger than you. And this is what I said, and she's like, no, it doesn't. I don't know what could. And it's just like, you're an idiot. You just had a kid. You just went out and rode the cock carousel, and you got a bad result from it. And then you put the father in. You put domestic violence charges on the father, which means that it's going to be super hard as hell for that father to see his kid, which he needs to do. He needs to see the kid. Now, granted, I don't know the story. He could be some horrible man, could be some horrible criminal. In that case, okay. Yeah, he needs to be away from the kid. But I don't know the situation. It sounds to me like she just didn't want to see him anymore, and he wanted to continue on with the relationship, because this is what happens. These girls, they go out and they sleep around, and they get knocked up by some guy. And the guy, okay, he wants to have a relationship. Oh, but you didn't want to have a relationship with him because he doesn't make enough money. You just wanted to fuck him because he was good looking and probably had a big dick, and you liked fucking him, and then you got pregnant. Oops. But now you don't want to be with him because he doesn't make enough money or whatever the fuck reason. He's not socially acceptable to your parents. I've heard it all, man. And so then he gets mad and upset. He's like, well, I want to see my kid. Or he's saying, I want to make this work. He won't leave you alone. He gets a little clingy because guys aren't used to being emotional, and women know just the time to fuck us over and pull out the rug from under our feet and never talk to us again and get us all attached. And so he maybe wouldn't leave her alone, and so she got a restraining order. And that's the baby's kid. Oops. Well, great. And now what? Now you're stuck in a situation where you got a guy's kid and you don't want to talk to him anymore because you're no longer attracted to him anymore because he showed weakness when before he was such a cool alpha that you were chasing and you wanted to fuck him a bunch of times. But now he showed weakness because he actually likes you and actually wants to be in a relationship with you. So now you want to get a restraining order against him because you're no longer attracted to him because you're still a dumb 24-year-old vapid fucking slut cunt. Okay? So I don't know. It's just like, who raised you? And she had the nerve to say, oh, my parents raised me better than that. No, they didn't. They clearly didn't. Or society, somebody didn't raise you better than that because you're good looking, you got nice tits, and everybody says your shit doesn't stink, so you think you're a fucking princess who can go out and be a slut, and you got a consequence, and you're still dumb. You're still dumb. So This is par for the course with so many of these young women. They think, oh, just because I got big tits, I got, I can do or say whatever I want. I'm a fucking walk around like they're a fucking celebrity. Well, guess what? In 15 years, you're no longer going to be so wanted, and by that time, shit, what's your lay count going to be? You already got it. You're not even 25, and you got a kid from a guy that you got a restraining order against. Now you got to explain that to all the men who want to date you for the rest of your life, and half of them are going to be fucking beta cucks. Who are going to be like, "Oh yeah, baby, it's okay," because they just want to feel your tits. They just want to suck on your tits and fuck you, and then that's all they want. And then once they get that, then who knows? Half of them are going to ditch you and leave you because they don't want your fucking troubles. They don't want to be raising the kid and the dad, is going to beat them up or stalk them or something crazy. They don't want that. So half of them are going to leave you. And if the ones do stick around, it means they got lowered expectations. It means they got lowered standards, which means they're not going to be the type of quality man that you want. And then you're going to have to settle. So you pretty much fucked yourself. And you went from, oh, okay, yeah, I admit it. I made a mistake to being that same dumb person, because all you're doing is you're admitting it for the moment, because now you got a 24/7 ball and chain. Okay, but then you're gonna do all this feminist bullshit to cope and like, oh no, I'm still a real woman. I'm still just as quality as any other woman. No, you're not. And any man you get is gonna be lower standards, because if he accepts you for what you are, it means he's cucked enough to accept the fact, okay, you're beautiful, but you got a baby, you got a ball and chain, whose father out there you have a restraining order against, and who knows what that guy's capable of. And now for the rest of his life, he's got to be in contact with that guy, and he's got to deal with all your dumb bullshit. And this is why society needs to raise better women. She had a good parent system, apparently, is what she said, but apparently it wasn't good enough to keep her from being a slut. Apparently it wasn't good enough to keep her from being stupid and not being mature and an adult. And she can't logic. So great, your father disciplined you for what? So society ruined you, or your own choices ruined you, or because people told you were so beautiful that your shit doesn't stink, blah blah blah. I've heard it a million times. It's all the same story.